What is the secret to long-term tenants? What if I told you that the secret to keeping tenants for years, sometimes even decades, is something most landlords completely overlook? Today, we are breaking down 4 real case studies that reveal exactly what separates landlords who constantly deal with vacancies from those who enjoy stable, long-term tenancies year after year. If you find value in what we cover today, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss another video packed with practical property management insights. Before we get into the case studies, I want to be upfront with you. Long-term tenants do not happen by accident. They are the result of a deliberate strategy, a specific mindset, and systems that most landlords simply do not have in place. If you want to go deeper on all of this, my effective property management course covers everything we are discussing today and a whole lot more. Click the link in the description to become a member and access the full program. Now, let us get into it. Case study number 1 involves a landlord who owned a modest 2-bedroom unit in a mid-sized city. When they first started out, they treated every maintenance request like an inconvenience. Tenants would call about a leaking tap or a broken heater, and days would go by before anything was done. Turnover was constant. They were re-advertising the property every 12 to 18 months and losing thousands in vacancy costs each time. Then something shifted. They decided to flip their approach entirely and started treating every maintenance request as an opportunity to demonstrate reliability. They introduced a simple system where any reported issue received an acknowledgement within 24 hours and a resolution within 72 hours for non-emergency problems. Within 2 years, the same tenants who had previously been looking elsewhere were renewing their leases without hesitation. The lesson here is profound. Tenants do not just rent a property, they rent the experience of living there. When that experience feels safe and supported, they stay. Case study number 2 is about communication and specifically the lack of it. A landlord managing 3 properties noticed that tenants in one particular unit were consistently leaving after a single lease term. The property itself was well maintained and priced fairly. After conducting exit interviews, which is something very few landlords actually do, they discovered the tenants felt invisible. Nobody ever checked in. Nobody sent a simple message before winter to ask if the heating was working properly. Nobody acknowledged lease renewals until the very last minute. The landlord started sending brief seasonal check-ins and giving at least 90 days notice before lease renewal discussions. Vacancy in that unit dropped to 0 over the following 3 years. Feeling valued is a fundamental human need, and tenants are humans first, renters second. Case study number 3 is one that will challenge how you think about lease pricing. Many landlords believe that raising rent annually to market rate is simply good business, and in isolation, that is true. But one landlord discovered that offering slightly below market renewal rates to excellent long-term tenants was actually generating more income overall. Here is why. Every time a tenant leaves, you face advertising costs, potential weeks of vacancy, cleaning, minor repairs, and the risk of getting a less reliable tenant next time. When they ran the actual numbers, keeping a great tenant at 5% below market rate was significantly more profitable than chasing top dollar and risking a vacancy. This is the kind of thinking that separates strategic landlords from reactive ones, and it is exactly the framework we build inside my effective property management course. Becoming a member through the link in the description gives you access to the tools and templates to run these numbers for your own portfolio. Case study number 4 might be the most powerful of all because it deals with something almost nobody talks about, the move-in experience. One landlord started doing something remarkably simple. Before every new tenancy began, they would ensure the property was spotless, everything was in working order, and they would leave a small welcome note acknowledging the tenant by name and expressing genuine appreciation for choosing to live in the property. They also provided a simple information pack that explained how to report maintenance, who to contact in an emergency, and basic details about the local area. What they found was extraordinary. Tenants who experienced this kind of welcome were far more likely to take pride in the property, communicate openly, and most importantly, renew their leases. The psychological principle at work here is called reciprocity. When someone does something genuinely kind for you, you naturally want to give something back. In a tenancy context, what tenants give back is loyalty, care, and long-term commitment. So what ties all four of these case studies together? The answer is actually quite simple. Every single landlord who achieved long-term tenancies made a conscious decision to treat their tenants as valued people rather than just income sources. They created systems around communication, responsiveness, pricing strategy, and the rental experience itself. None of this requires a massive budget or years of experience. It requires intention. If you are watching this and thinking about how you can apply any of these lessons to your own properties, I want to encourage you to also like and subscribe to this channel because we release practical, no fluff content just like this every single week to help you become a better, more profitable property manager. The landlords who struggle most with vacancies are almost always the ones who are reactive. They only think about tenants when something goes wrong or when rent is due. The landlords who thrive are proactive. They build relationships, create systems, and think in terms of years rather than months. If you want the full framework, the detailed checklists, the scripts for tenant communication, and everything else that goes into building a portfolio of loyal long-term tenants, my Effective Property Management course is exactly where you need to be. Click the link in the description right now to become a member and start applying these strategies today. The cost of a vacancy will always be greater than the cost of investing in your education. See you in the next one.